Hello everyone and welcome to the All 12 Signs video series for the Leo new moon. This is happening on the 16th of August 2023 at 23 degrees and 17 minutes. I will be reading for Gemini and Taurus. Apologies to the Geminis who caught the last video expecting a reading. The readings went on a little bit longer than anticipated, so I broke it up at 2. And so yeah, not in this introduction, but in following introductions, there's an oracle reading I'm going to be doing, and I'm also going to be doing a chakra rebalancing and with a pendulum, so do go check out those introductions. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and I channel energies through my body. It's just one of the ways that I channeling in energies from different dimensions to help us heal, help clear stuck energy. My hand's just over my heart chakra right now, and open up portals to the cosmos, to the creator energy, to help us get in alignment with our soul's journey. Right, so in these readings, I focus on you. With the astrology and the tarot, the focus is on you. You are the most consistent thing in your life, right? The more that we understand ourselves, the more we peel back the layers of trauma responses, social conditioning, limiting beliefs, the more that we get to our soul, right? And the more we become in alignment with that soul frequency. And this is bringing in integration. This isn't about shaming or rejecting or hiding from difficult situations. This is allowing these things to flow through you without rejecting them, right? The more that we reject things, the louder they get. The more something doesn't feel seen, the louder it gets, and it can get, it can blow up in our faces. I speak from experience. That the more that we tend to these things and we realize we are multifaceted, multi-dimensional beings, there are so many different versions of you inside of you, and the more that we integrate all of that, the more that integrated energy is then available to the collective, right? It ripples out around you, affecting the people around you, your society, and then the collective, and not only the collective here on planet Earth, but the cosmos, right? So we're doing it for everybody. The reason why I bring it up is because the tarot, like court cards, can be seen as other people. Certain cards are linked to love, certain cards are linked into work. I will be mostly reading for you and how this energy is showing up for you, right? If there's a specific question that you have, or you want a natal chart reading, do look at the description box where my email address is. Send me a line. I will get back to you. I love to tailor to the client. I love having a chat. Same with the astrology, right? So for me, the natal chart is both entirely you, as well as often sometimes not you at all. And it can be about other people and certain events in your life kicking off. So I will be focusing fully on you. If I do get strong messages linked into a certain thing beyond that, I will bring them up. But I just want to let you know that's what I'm focusing on in these readings. Right. Well, what else did I want to say? So I work with the whole house system based off of the Hellenistic period. This is the Greco-Roman time from over 2,000 years ago. And that's one of the core principles that I use, as well as my own intuition in interpreting astrology and tarot as well. Now, with the whole house system, that means each sign falls in the whole of a house. I really recommend, if you know your time of birth, to check out the first house, where the sign that's in the first house first. This is called your rising sign. This is where your ascendant is. This is a very powerful house. And in a lot of the ancient traditions, it had a lot of weight, a lot of priority over than, say, your sun sign. This doesn't invalidate you looking at your sun or your moon, particularly the sun in this reading, because Leo is ruled by the sun, or any other part of your chart, because whatever's going on in the skies, the transits are not only affecting where they're at, but the conversation that they're having with all the other signs, right? So if you're looking at a different aspect that isn't in the first house, or a sign in the first house, look to where that sign falls, look in your chart, look to the house that it's in, the themes of that house, and apply those themes to the messages that come through. It's as if that sign has now moved to the first house. You can get a really holistic understanding if you're doing your sun, moon, and rising, right? So they all bring together the embodiment of self, right? Personally, I think all the chart does, and all the planets, and it's nuanced. It's more nuanced than that, but I do appreciate not everyone's got the time to sit for probably 12 hours of readings, and that is just with the lunation ones. The others tend to be a lot longer, so I totally appreciate that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm so aware of how precious your time and your energy is, and it means a lot to me that you're here, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, engaging with this energy. It means a lot. And so is there anything else that I wanted to say? I will be putting the chart up of this lunation on my community page. It's also will be going up on my Instagram. I've got an Instagram, check that out if you're interested. And so you might will I do it today? I tend to do it after the transits, but we'll see that it will go up. And so do check that out to have a sort of understanding, a visual understanding of how all of this is connected. Right, I've done a collective reading. I really enjoy the collective readings. They're often my favorite. And yeah, a lot of messages came through with that one. It was a very strong, clear message that I've been feeling quite loudly. There's a lot of independent energy rocking around in all the transits right now. Very strong, autonomous, authentic energy, really calling us to embody that and integrate it. So do check out that collective reading. I go into the astrology in a lot more detail, which I won't be touching on in the same way in each of these readings. Right, okay, I think that is everything that I'm going to say, and then I'm going to kick off with Gemini. Be good to yourselves, be good to those around you, and most importantly, be well until we meet again. Gemini rising. How you doing, Gemini? For those of you looking into the Gemini energy and it doesn't fall in your first house, look to the house that it does fall in, the themes of that house, and apply those themes to the messages that come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It's as if that Gemini energy has now moved to the first house, but carrying all of the themes of your natal chart. Right, regardless of whether Gemini is your rising sign or not, Gemini and Leo sextile one another. This is an aspect of Venus. Venus wants to bring in appreciation, value, love, connection. And sorry, let me just move this down while we're doing this. But most importantly with the sextile, creativity, right? So why is this? So Leo and Gemini, they are both yang day in nature. They are more the extrovert energy. They are not. Fire and air aren't bound by gravity. There's a need for speed with these energies. They're wanting to do and go and be, and stimulation, and moving from one thing to the other, transforming and flowing, all of these things. But they've got the root. So there's words. There are three things, main things that signs can have in common with one another. One is the yang day energy, that's the root and foundation. The second is the element, and then the third is the modality. So the Gemini and Leo, you're both yang day in energy, so you've got that baseline in common with one another, but you're different elements and you're different modalities. So Gemini, you are mutable. Leo is fixed and fire, right? So this is where the brainstorming, the creativity comes in, because you've got that baseline where you kind of understand the nature of the other, but you're coming at things from different angles. And so that's when you're integrating these four differences together, and you're coming up with creative ideas, a sense of appreciation, that value of understanding that nature, and then that appreciation of that which is different, being able to navigate that with ease, with grace. A sextile is a soft aspect. It is ruled by Venus. She is a benefic, right? So this is an easy, free-flowing energy that isn't sorry if you had that door slam, there's a lot of wind here today. It isn't one of like a hard aspect which can require like a few more steps to sort of really get things going. But sometimes with sextiles, we just might take it for granted, right? There's pros and cons with all of the aspects, but it is a soft, generous energy, right? So really finding a sense of ease and flow with this lunation, and yeah, just really a lot of fun. Think of Venus. She wants us to feel good in the 3D realm, right? She wants us to be in our flow, to enjoy the little things, to find the love in everything that we do. Right, so lovely energy. Just gonna pause. There seems to be some banging going on. I'll shut my windows. So I went to see what was going on, Gemini, but it just made me realize, wind, Gemini, you are the fastest moving planet, right? Mutable, air ruled by Mercury, the fastest planet, and the wind is like whoosh. You're coming in strong, Gemini. You're coming in strong. strong. Right, so for Gemini rising, this is happening in your third house. Leo is down in your third house. The third house represents communication. This is traditionally known as the house of the goddess, because this is opposite the ninth house, which is the house of the gods, which is more about our big picture philosophies, our perspectives. And the reason why it's the house of the goddess is where we bring this into our day-to-day, because the third house is also very much about your day-to-day, your local environment, the things you do on a day-to-day basis. It's not routine so much, because that is the sixth house, where we're like, well, this is what I'm doing every day at this time. This is more just your flow, your ease. Communication is what we do in every way with every sense, right? So it is a very encompassing energy that is or the sort of well, I was going to say the day-to-day again, but I've already said that. But just your being on a day-to-day basis, right? Where you go, the things that you talk about, that if you do like writing or any kind of communication on a regular basis, this is where this shows up. It's also linked into short-term courses, right? So learning something new for the first time, because it's linked into schools. And so there's an element of like that novelty, that apprenticeship of starting something. Or perhaps it's like a course, like a level up from the course that you've initiated. Mastery is more up in the ninth house. What else? This is also about short distance trips. And so with this new moon, which is quite a powerful new moon, because we've got this involved with the Venus retrograde. So Venus, my toes just started wiggling. Hi, Venus. This Venus retrograde is going on in this house. Okay, so if you haven't checked out the Venus retrograde series, there's playlists, so everything's really accessible. And do go check that out, because Venus retrogrades the least out of all of the planets, and when she does, she kind of takes over. Definitely been the feeling this year of it taking over in every field. And this is very independent energy. Venus is starting a whole new 8-year cycle that will really kick off around the 7th of October, for the way that you understand how you communicate from a place of love, from a place of value. But when Venus is retrograde, she is instigating and breaking old cycles in order to bring in new ones. And new ones are feeling good about in this 3D world, bringing love into the way that you express yourself. And she can be very disruptive, right? She is trying to shift the cycles, break the last 8 years up, take what you needed to from those last 8 years and then bring it in to the future. So why am I banging on about Venus so much? Well, she's involved in this moon. Oh, I forgot to get this chart up. Do apologize. She's involved in this moon. She's in the same sign. So this moon is governing Venus, and Venus is having an effect on what this moon, how this moon is showing up. And so there's a lot of powerful independent energy linked around this new moon. Oh, I should have mentioned, I'm pulling cards for 3 piles. The first pile is the lead up to this full moon, and it's always going to be from lead up to the new moon, and it's always going to be from the full moon that we had before in the sign of Leo. That was on the 5th of February. I put the date in the description box, so to go check that out if you want to like jog your memory about what was going on around then and what you've been working on since. But it's also the first moon in Leo, the first lunation that we're having without Saturn in Aquarius opposing it. So this was the same for the Aquarius full moon that we've just had, where that was the first lunation without Saturn. And so it very much felt like a wrapping up of everything that we've been working with Saturn in Aquarius in relation to the opposition now with the Leo part of your chart. And so Saturn was over in your 9th house, as I said, the house of the gods. It's your perspective. So we're bringing in everything that we've learned from that into this new moon. And there's a lightness. There's more of a lightness with this new moon without Saturn opposing it, right? So that's the first pile of sort of summing up everything that you've been bringing together and working on and releasing and transforming and all of that stuff. The second pile is for the moon itself, the energy, what the energy of the moon is bringing in. And then the third pile is how all of this is manifesting moving forward for the next 6 months, right, until we get to the full moon in Leo next year. Right? I look at lunations from as each 6-month cycle, and they're parts of bigger cycles. We can also look from this new moon to the full moon in Pisces as well. That will add on a layer of so all the new and full moons, they're all in conjunct one another. So we've just had the full moon in Aquarius, and now we've got the new moon in Leo rather than the other way round. So the new moon and the next full moon are in conjunct, and this is when lots of maverick ideas can come in as well. So this is going to be like this for a while. It's been like this since we had the Aries hybrid eclipse. In the collective reading, this is why I recommend it. It's kind of right at the beginning, so if you don't have time for all of it, I summarized the sort of themes around the new moons that we've had since the Aries new moon hybrid eclipse. We have them once a decade, got a very, very strong channeling in with that one. And so each of the new moons since then has been instigating new parts of integration of this new journey we're all headed on, of incorporating our different soul journeys together. So we are more in flow with that, whether it's unconsciously or consciously, and more in alignment with that energy, rather than, you know, the collective conditioning or the trauma responses or our limiting beliefs. So again, the astrology outside of the lunations, very, very independent, wanting us to be free, right? It's across the board in all the transits. It really does blow my mind how all of this is coming together. I love astrology. I love the vast tapestry of energies that are the beautiful creations. Oh, I've just seen a spider. I've got so many spiders on this altar. I've got one, which isn't that one, that's been hanging out here for well over a month now, and occasionally it'll pop its head out. It's right by Ganesh and the Fool card, which I love, helping us. I feel like it's helping us break certain webs that we may be in and instigating new journeys, right? So very much getting support from the animal kingdom here on the altar. Right, that was a little side quest that I talked about. Okay, right, back to you, Gemini, and this lunation. So this is sextiling your Gemini energy, and for Gemini rising, this is your first house. This is your house, the house of self, how you embody your sun or your moon in your actions and your deeds, depending on whether you've got a day or a night chart. This is your body, your appearance, your vitality, your character. It is often how other people see you, because they see the way that you embody your internal space in the external, right? I mean, I guess it all depends on how well they know you. But yeah. Oh, hello. Can you see that? Did you see? Do you see? Do you see? Do you see? Can you see? I think you can see. Yes. Hello. Are you making a web? Are you? Wow. Okay. So got some lovely spider energy coming in for you, Gemini. Sorry, I am totally distracted by the spider now. Right, I'll focus. Focus, focus, focus. You're the fastest moving sign, Gemini. Focus can be a thing that isn't always readily accessible, so I feel like they're helping out and giving some energy. It's a wonderful skill, like, don't get me wrong, this is not a criticism, Gemini, but there is an element of whiplash, of moving from one thing to the other very, very quickly, which is a phenomenal talent. I love Gemini energy. Go check out, Geminis, if you haven't, go check out the Gemini New Moon collective reading. That was one of my favorite readings. Whoa, 2 5s. Okay, so we are shifting something. Go check out that collective reading. I spoke very little about the astrology. It's not. I don't think it's not time sensitive. A lot about how I see the Gemini energy show up in terms of the vast capacity you have to engage in magic, and to engage in a very playful energy with the universe that would benefit all of us to engage in. So, right. Okay, so this is sextiling your energy. So a sense of appreciation and value, a sense of connection and brainstorming, of starting a whole new cycle in the way that you express yourself, coming from the heart space, right? So Leo rules the heart and the spine, and our Kundalini energy ruled by the sun. There's the vitality, there is clarity, there is animation, there is just the downloads that you get and share with others in the way that you express yourself is coming directly from the sun. And this Venus retrograde is so important because you're revamping this and starting a whole 8-year cycle. On the day of this new moon, Venus is still retrograde, but I love it. It's going to be the same for the Virgo new moon, which is a fellow Mercury ruled sign. Mercury is going to still be retrograde. It's stationing direct on that day, but it will be retrograde at the time of the new moon. And I really like that we've got these 2 back-to-back new moons with planets in their signs that are retrograde. And retrograde energy gives us an ability to pause, find the nuances, find depth, be able to go inward, be able to contemplate before expressing ourselves. So and very sort of the ability to go over the nuances and depth with retrograde energy helps you be able to think of new ways of engaging with things that are breaking against the norm. Both the Venus and the Virgo and the Mercury transit are really liberating us and starting big new cycles in our ability to be comfortable expressing ourselves outside of social conformity, right, in a healthy way, with respect, integrity, and consent. It's basically, don't be a dick, but it's not bringing in that energy, it's bringing in liberation. And so I really like that this new moon has got that retrograde Venus, because that is instilling a very independent energy and being able to find new ways of navigating and expressing a sense of value and appreciation and creativity on the day of this new moon that is starting a whole new 6-month cycle of instigating that. So a lot of people who have retrograde planets in their chart, can take a while for it to get going, because it's like 3 times a charm and you're having to go backwards before you go forwards, but when they do, like, there's a real talent and skill and depth to what they have to provide. And so I love that we've got this with this new moon on this speaking of Venus. I love that we've got this energy for you on this new moon in the sign of communication as well. So really boosting your heart space, boosting the clarity in which you are able to understand and communicate from your heart without it getting distorted. Remember, new moons instigate cycles, so we're planting these seeds of intention. If you're watching this after the event, it doesn't invalidate the messages that are coming through and what would be inherently integrated at the time, that will then start to build and build and build and build and build. What else is going on? Okay, so it can also be about setting intentions around how you move through your day, right? How do you communicate with your day? Remember, House of the Goddess, so we're bringing the bigger perspectives that we have into our day to day. How this is a great time to instigate that, and to put the intention to find meaning, find depth, find joy, find love in the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. The 3rd house is incredibly powerful, but because it does kind of contain almost everything that we do, because it is about communication, and communication is everything that we do all the time. That with that Leo heart space, with Leo energy, I always say, because it's the sun, it can want to be seen, okay, or it can have an inherent frustration at not being seen. There's an unintegrated Leo that then puffs itself up and takes up space and diminishes other people's light, because it has this a blockage around the ability to see its own light, right? Usually through trauma responses or soul contracts that we signed up for. And the Leo energy, I always suggest, shine that light inward. You have a sun in your heart, right? You have a powerful, they've just put my hand over my heart rather than the chakra itself, and the spider is giving me life, right? Beautiful little legs. I'll see if I can take a picture of it and maybe put it on the community page. That you have that generator within you, right? The less we seek that from the outside world, that light, the more that we shine it inward with clarity and vision and just the wonder of the solar system and bringing things into creation, right? The more that you do that, the less you need to take away the light from others, because Leo has a fantastic ability to be able to see the light in others if they cannot see it themselves. And so the fact that you've got this in your 3rd house of communication, you're really able to bring the joy into people's lives on a day-to-day basis, right? So make sure that you bring that to yourself and don't negate that. It's just as important. Give from your saucer, not from your cup. Give from a space of abundance, not from a space of lack. What else did I want to say about that one? Yeah, so it might be that you have new intentions about how you engage with your day-to-day, how you engage with your local community. This could be starting a new way of a new community that you want to work with. This could be about instigating a desire to sort of learn a new skill. And, you know, you might, as I say, you might be taking a short trip around this time, because sometimes we get compelled by the lunations to go embody the themes of the houses that they fall in. But yeah, really, really lovely energy. There is a square to this sun and moon with Uranus over in Taurus. So this is probably one of the main aspects that we're getting. We also had this square at the time of the full moon in Leo, and that was around 16 degrees. This moon is at 23 degrees. So since then, Uranus has moved forward, and now we have that square again. So Uranus is really doubling down on us being free in our heart space. Uranus is the oddball of the universe. It's not bothered by the fact that it is. Its axis is different to that of all the other planets. So all the planets' axis are this way, and Uranus's axis is this way, and its north pole is pointing towards the sun. All its moons are retrograde. It's very independent energy, very maverick energy. It embodies itself, and is comfortable doing so. It is very innovative. So because it's going against the grain, as it were, it's able to think of different ways of doing something, can be very contrary, can be very disruptive, right? And we're dealing with a square here, because squares are an aspect of Mars. It's a 90-degree angle. They're pushing against one another. So we've got two fixed energies that think they know best. This is where conflict, drama, frustration, winning at all costs energy can come up with that square. But if it does around this new moon, bear witness to it, see what it's trying to teach you. It could be bringing up triggers that you can set intentions around of clearing for the next part of the cycle. It could bring up triggers that you've been working on and that you're now no longer bothered by, so you know to release that part of the intention that you've been establishing. That's been cleared out. It can be, what else can it be? Yeah, so the other side of that is friction, right? We need friction in order to create in this 3D linear time frame construct reality that we're very, can you see the spider, right? So she's over there. Or so in this time frame reality that we're very consciously aware of. Without friction, atoms wouldn't jump against one another and create time and space. So squares are an intense manifestation energy, right? It is a hard aspect, which is why it can be a little bit difficult. But as I said, it is a very big manifestation energy. So we have that instigating at the beginning of a new moon. As I said, all that independent energy of Uranus wanting you to be confident, being different from others. We are all different, and yet we are told to conform. We are also all the same thing. So you know, paradoxes. Let's work with them, because that's the magic of the universe. That this new moon is really for calling an energy down into this moon to help us be confident and comfortable in our own skin. Taurus, the personal earth sign, our physical senses, our physical body. How do we feel in our body? How do we feel confident in our body with that Uranian energy? And you have Taurus over in, where's my brain gone blank? You have, sorry, Gemini, you have, my brain has gone completely and utterly blank. Your sixth house, sorry. This is work, health and routines, right? So I was talking about the day-to-day, which is the third, and the Gemini, I accidentally stopped the video. So this is right, so not your sixth house at all. That didn't feel right at all. I don't know why that happened. I was going forward instead of backwards around the wheel. You have it in your 12th house. And I cried in your Jupiter transit series for the 12th house, so go check that one out if you haven't. Don't know how I could forget that. You have Jupiter, you have Taurus in your 12th house. This is your hidden house, your house of mysteries. Perhaps that's why it's hiding from me. Being very literal. I use that as an excuse to not remember. So the hidden house, the house of mysteries, right? This can be your unconscious space. This can be there can be a lot of difficulties here, mental issues, anxiety, depression, because it's the constructs of who you are, trauma responses, limiting beliefs, and underneath all of that is your magic, right? So it's not just that which is the hidden constructs, but also the unseen, the occult, right? Magic is just science we haven't figured out yet, the untangible. Very, very powerful house, and you have had Uranus there for a while, which has really been helping you navigate and you figure out how to be comfortable being yourself underneath all of that trauma and limiting beliefs. Okay, Uranian energy can be very disruptive, so perhaps breaking up neural pathways. I like to call Uranus the chain breaker and the clearer of paths. So it's doing a number on you over in your 12th house, helping facilitate this new way of expression, right? So it's squaring this Leo energy of communication, communication from your 12th house, from the magic of who you are, coming in and feeding into this new moon for you in order for you to express the truth underneath the distortion. So that's a really powerful aspect that we're having on this new moon. It can be very conflicting. So there might be some drama that kicks off with this new moon for some of you. Might not be for all of you, but I feel like a lot of that drama is getting cleared out in the lead up, because we're currently in the balsamic phase of things getting testy, because yeah, generally I'm just not getting that vibe, but it can also very much show up because it is a very feisty moon. Right, so what else is going on? We have 2 asteroids in the sign of Leo. We have Black Moon Lilith conjunct the Sun and the Moon. Now, I really recommend going and checking out the mythology around Black Moon Lilith. There's a lot around Lilith herself. There's a lot going on there. Essentially, she's been a scapegoat for those who choose to break against conformity and social norms and structures that don't make sense and in fact blocking us. She's definitely taken one for the team there. One day I am gonna do a reading on the Lilith energy. She's very powerful for me, and every time I look into the mythology, I just get enraged and heartbroken, and also so full of gratitude. So essentially, in the mythology, in a nutshell, how does it interpret? Well, imagine being told that you can't do a thing by a person who is doing that thing. And you say to that person, hey, how come you can do it and I can't? And they just tell you, well, you can't. Okay, there's some more disruption going on. I'm going to pause and shut the window. Sorry about that, Gemini. That's what, like 3 disruptions so far now. 3's the magic number. What was I saying? Lilith, right? So yeah, say someone says you can't do a thing, but they're doing it. You question them. Like, you're just up front and saying, hey, do you want to talk to me about that? What's going on here? Let me know why. Maybe I'll understand it. And they just say, no, that's just how it is, right? Lilith wants to have a conversation. She wants to be treated as an equal. She wants to be respected, to be free, to be able to do what she's doing, but also have conversations, to make compromises if that's necessary. And if that's not happening, if you're getting roadblocks, if you're getting massive walls put up in front of you, Lilith energy packs her bags and goes off and goes and lives her own life and goes and does her own thing, right? So that's the energy conjunct the Sun and the Moon. So we've got incredibly independent energy over with Uranus, who really just wants you to be your individual self in this environment. Lilith, who's like, hey, if I'm coming up against hierarchies, structures that don't make any sense, what's the other word that I was using in the other readings? Oh, it might come back to me. I had to pause for a second because I didn't want to take up too much time. Hypocrisy, right? If you come up against hypocrisy and that you sense that there isn't an ability to change it, then you just like, well, no, I'm going to go and live my life and do what it is that I need to do. Obviously we always want to try and find a room to be able to navigate those hypocrisies and help break the cycles, and not only for ourselves but for those around us, and instigate that kind of energy. But there are some situations where you're like, no, this is, the line in the sand is drawn. And this is the Lilith energy, right? Combined with that Uranian energy, they are square one another as well. So they are really like instigating love and this 3D experience, that Taurian earth energy, into a new frequency, where we are confident being able to express our heart space without prioritizing everybody else's needs, freeing that heart from breaking the chains and clearing the past in that heart space, that's allowing us to be confident in expressing ourselves without fear of retribution. And confident when there are those situations where you're like, no, right, I'm moving on, right, I'm changing, I'm shifting, and that's really okay. We also have Juno, which is another asteroid. Juno is a Juno is, we've got the Leo card. Juno is linked into commitment, your ride or die, right? That thing that you're like, this is worth sticking by. So unlike, well, it's not unlike Lilith, they are part of the same energy of like, if there is an energy that you're sticking by, it has to be worth it. It really has to be worth it. It's not about being in abusive relationships. It is about being able to see clearly about the growth and the journey that you're on with whatever it is. It doesn't have to be about other people. It's your commitment to your communication. Is your commitment to the way that you express yourself on a day-to-day basis, your commitment to bring in your philosophies into your day-to-day, and really like be open to learning new things as well, because that is what the third house is about. We're like instigating a whole radical new way of engaging with commitment to yourself, which is a phenomenal thing. And this is brainstorming and finding harmony in the way that you embody your sun or your moon. So through your actions, you're going to be able to instigate this new dynamic. What else is going on? So there's a fair amount. I'm not going to talk about absolutely everything because that's in the collective reading. There is so the moon is now making trines and sextiles to the north and south node. So we have had the south node and north node in fixed signs, in Scorpio and Taurus. So each time we've had lunations or transits in Leo or Aquarius, they've been square the node, so it can be very explosive, can be quite more linked into sort of a very big fate energy. And now we have moved away from that. Now we have gone into harmonious aspects, the sextile, which I've already talked about, that Venusian aspect of creativity and love and harmony, which is the sextile to Libra, a fellow air sign. And then we've got the trine over to the north node in Aries, right? So this is, they share the same yang day energy, the same element, but they are different modalities. This is an aspect of Jupiter. Jupiter wants to bring in wisdom, elevation, expansion, and with this wisdom and this deep confidence that we get when we are walking with wisdom, this is when the opportunities, the expansion, the luck energy and the generosity energy comes in, right? Very free flowing, easy energy, very inspiring. So we've got this new moon in Leo instigating a new cycle that is in harmony and elevation and wisdom of where we're headed with that north node in Aries, and sextiling that Libra energy, which is bringing creative understanding of where what we're shifting and changing and transmuting and refining over in the south node, right? I've done a nodal transit series. Again, there's a playlist, go check it out if you want to know how this nodal series is working for you, what the eclipses are, the energy of that. I will be anyway. And so you've got Libra over in your fifth house of your creation energy, right? So very powerful influence of that south node, of refining that creative energy in the way that you express yourself. This new moon is instigating that with the energies of what the north and south node 18-month cycle are all about. And you've got Aries over in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances. So the way that you communicate in your day-to-day, the things that you're finding out and doing and navigating on your day-to-day, and the way that you express yourself, this is in alignment with your hopes and your dreams and where you're headed with that. Final aspect that I'm going to talk about, I mean, there's so much more. I want to talk about all of them. Okay. Okay, maybe the two aspects. I'm going to do two quick ones, right? Vesta is over in your sign, Gemini, right? This is my favorite aspect for the Mercury retrograde that's happening in Virgo. Again, there's a transit series. I know I sound like a bit of a repeat. And there's a transit series. It's in its own playlist. You're ruled by one of your rulers is Mercury, so do check that out. And it's happening for you in an angular house. Very powerful. Vesta is in your sign, and Vesta represents devotion. I talk a lot about the mythology around Vesta in that Mercury retrograde series. She really represents that inner space, that inner devotion. Wherever she is, she's calling us to be in a state of devotion, right? And you have that in your first house, and this is sextiling the third house. So this sense of honor and sanctity in the way that you express yourself is feeding into this new moon. The other major aspect that we're getting with this is a square, not a square, oh my goodness me, a trine between Mars and Uranus. Mercury's involved, as is Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena represents strategy, logic, embodiment of wisdom. And Mercury, obviously, communication, how we engage with the information around us, what are we drawn to, flow, very much about flow, Mercury. And Mars, right? Mars is at 22 degrees, Uranus is at 23 degrees. So almost, and Mars is moving into 23 degrees after this exact new moon. So on that day, it will be at 23. We won't have a Mars trine with Uranus until January next year. So very potent energy. Mars is very independent, right? So our motivation, our drive, our passion, that thing that gives us animation to get up and go in the world, right? What gets our blood pumping. And so Mars and Uranus are like, hey, how do we embody this intention of feeling good in the physical world, Uranus over in Taurus? And how do we streamline it? How do we bring up wisdom and elevation through the actions that we're taking in Virgo of being able to see the details of where this isn't being worked out, facilitating this energy and combining the actions that you take with the intentions of Uranus to set you free, right? And this is very powerful energy that's happening on the day of this new moon. I love that we've got this strong earth energy for a very fire and air heavy lunation. It's really grounding this higher idea of independence, but working with society from a heart space into the earth, into the 3D. Right, so they put the decker down a while ago. I'm going to go quiet now. So we've just had the Yang Day action side of the reading, right? Stimulation, go, 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 go. The extrovert is out and proud. And now we're going to have the Yin Night rest side of the reading, right? This is when we are both going to soften our minds, be quiet. You just had loads of information thrown at you. Let it all settle. See what intuitive hits come up. Really allow your mind to relax. And then I'm going to be doing some energy work, and the energies are going to want to move the cards around and put them into the 3 piles. And when they've finished doing what they've needed to do, that's when I'm going to come back round to talking and bringing in the lovely tarot with everything that's been going on. Oh, I'm going to very quickly say Venus is sextiling Chiron. It would have been exact the day or the day before. Chiron's over in Aries, right? So your hopes and your dreams, working through wounds and wisdom and medicine around that. And this Venus trine, she's going to be trining again when she goes direct. But this is really finding the love and the harmony and the connection, the depths and the nuance at what has hurt you, at what has blocked you, and being able to find the wisdom and the magic in order to transform that, and bring that in and embody it with love. My hands just resting over the heart chakra. Just had an energetic release. Okay, let's kick off with the tarot. So for the energy leading up to this, right, you know, a lot of the readings, they've had some difficult energy. As I said, this is not only just about the Leo energy, this is about everything that we've worked through with that Saturn opposition of Saturn, perhaps restraining your perspective, of restraining how you see yourself in the world. And you come out the other side because we've got the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Wands here. So this is about feelings of scarcity, feeling not supported, and the Five of Wands is very much sort of, it's chaos energy for me. Like there's a lot of movement, but there's not any momentum, right? So nothing's quite being able to express itself or be seen or be heard. There's sort of like a dust up going on. So it feels like you've been working through, consciously or unconsciously, right? Working through this feeling of expression that you feel that you're not seen, okay? You feel like you're not seen in the way that you're able to embody your experience and your communication with the outside world, right? And with Saturn opposite that, that's where we do get limitations. We do get this sense of isolation come in, that sense of, are you good enough? And invisibility as well. And we've got the other side of that. We've got the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords, and this says, yes, these energies have come up, but you've been taking steps to change that. You've been taking steps to navigate that. over the last 6 months. We've got the Page of Pentacles. Pages are the use of the court cards, right? They've just got a hold of the pentacle. They've just got a hold of that element. They're so excited. It's very sort of joyful. They're heralds. They want to share the message, right? Imagine when you learn something for the first time and you're like, it blows your mind and you just want to share it with everybody. That's kind of the page. I'm speaking really fast. That's the page energy, right? And this is earth energy. This is 3D reality. This is herald. This is saying, right, I'm going to figure out a new way of being able to embody how I move through the world, how I communicate on the day-to-day, but it's starting a new journey, right? You're instigating and navigating through this energy that has been blocking you. And it's coming with the Knight of Swords, so very sort of your energy, Gemini. The Knight of Swords, of being able to take action with a sense of commitment, right? Knights are very loyal to their energy, to the sword, to the ideas, the thoughts, the way that you express yourself. But there's movement here, so there's an element of things you're doing in your day-to-day basis. You're getting ideas, you're getting new ways of thinking of how to navigate through this, and then you're putting it into practice. You know, that knight, that horse is determined. They're determined to get where they need to go, right? There's a real sense of commitment to that, right? There is an element of of going a little bit too fast with the Knight of Swords. And sometimes the situation calls for it, right? You know, you've got that grounded energy of the page that's giving you some stability in order to take this action. And like it feels like there's a fast momentum. You've been able to clear out a lot of this energy very quickly, even unconscious, conscious, however that turns up for you. But there's certainly this ability to then play around with the way that you're expressing and engaging in your day-to-day, right? Engaging into meaning, and like discovering new things. For the energy manifesting in this moon, right, what's coming down from the moon is the Queen of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Empress. Okay, so we've got another page, got 2 5s, 2 pages, Queen of Swords, right? So we've moved from the Knight of Swords to the Queen of Swords, where you've been embodying things, you've been trying things out, and now the Queen of Swords is like, right, we're going to nourish this. Remember, this is a new moon. It's not about a fullness of a completion. It is about instigating new intentions. The Queen of Swords, she is nourishing this new mental space and the new, just moving over my third eye, this new way of communicating, this new way of being in your day-to-day, right? There's a sense of clarity here. There's a sense of she's gone through some tough times, so the Queen of Swords, and that can make her a little jaded. It can make her a little restricted, and that's usually the traditional interpretation. But look here, her hand is outstretched. Yes, she's very independent. She's not even looking at us. She's going her own way. She faces her own way. She's incredibly independent energy. But and if you see here, the bird is right above her head. There's only birds. Can you see? There's only birds on the sword court cards. So you see with the knight. Hey. Oh no, I won't disturb it. I see with the knight, they're all behind him, so he's rushing fast, and sometimes that means that, like, we're going a little too fast for the downloads to come in, right? So there is an element of integration. The queen has it right above her crown chakra, so it is implying a higher perspective. You notice her head is above the clouds. But let's go back to the hand. Her hand is outstretched. She is open to receive, right? She's open to connect. She hasn't closed herself off. And like, this is really saying that you are tending to this new dynamic, this new expression that is coming through, these new downloads that are coming through, and you are looking after them, you are nourishing them, you're getting some more context as you build on this and build and build and build. We've also got the Page of Wands. So I love this combination because it's got your air energy, Gemini, and it's got the fire energy of the moon itself, of the page of saying, I'm heralding in new passions, new drives, new motivations, new adventure. And that, again, that youthful energy with the queen, who might be a little bit jaded, I always say the word jaded, but I often feel like that's too strong of a word for her. There's just a sort of a sense of knowing. She's like aware of past situations that have hurt. It's not that she's holding on to it, but she doesn't want to not be mindful of that version of reality. And so it can be blocking her. And with the page of wands, fire transforms, fire brings in a new dynamic, right? And so we've got this very strong fire energy and this useful energy, this excitement, and is crowned with the Empress. Okay, so we've got the Empress. So the Page of Wands is heralding in for the Queen of Swords, a joy of existing in this 3D realm, a very fertile energy. And this you know, is Venus. Venus is in this sign, right? The Empress is a goddess. She is Queen of Queens. She is confident and radiant and fertile in the way that she moves through the world. She is bringing a sense of connection and harmony in the way that you communicate. You notice my voice has slowed down and got soft. And this sort of flow rather than the staccato. There's an element of just ease in the way that you're moving through the world, right? So this is the energy. Oh, just going so soft and fluffy. I feel a little bit high now. I really love the Empress showing up for the Queen of Swords and saying, hey, look, I'm going to help soothe that. I'm going to help soothe these past pains in order for you to truly, freely express your truth and not have it be distorted. I'm going to empower, I'm going to embody, I'm going to bring this sense of opportunities and abundance and something being birthed into the world. What else did they want me to say? Okay. For this energy manifesting, moving forward. So the Empress is wanting to let you know that it is being seeded and it is being moved forward into the next part of your journey. We've got the Strength card and the 10 of Cups. This is a really beautiful combination. The Strength card is the Leo card. This is about harmony. This is about balance. Inner strength comes from being at peace and in flow with every part of who you are. So this so often in the way that we express ourselves, we can block ourselves from the truest nature, right? We can shame one part of us and not allow that to come out. The Strength card is about so the animal, instinctive, primal part of us with the cognitive higher mind. Both of these are so important to the human being. We are made up of both of these. The more we are in alignment rather than shaming and rejecting either of them, the more that we move away from dominance to equality and work from a place of love and kindness with the way that we understand our day-to-day, the way that we understand who we are and how to express ourselves, the more that we're in harmony with the universe. If you notice, she has an infinity symbol above her head. The only other person in the tarot that has that is the Magician, right? This is the acknowledgement that through the balance, like the Magician works with all the elements, right? Through the balance of existence, we are then able to be in a state of unity with the eternity of the cosmos. Another word for this card that's used in a different deck is lust. And this is lust for life. You know, when we fully embody life, we are able to be in harmony with all of it, right? So they were just rubbing over my third eye while I was doing that. And we've got it with the 10 of Cups. And this is emotional contentment, right? There's a balance, there's a flow. It's got the nuclear family on it. It is that sort of happily ever after card, but not all of us are seeking that nuclear family. But it is acknowledging that there is more comfort and ease and acceptance and peace with your day-to-day, with how you embody yourself, with this in every, and the third house does kind of encompass everything, right? And so the 10 of Cups really is about that, of each part of your flow is fulfilling and providing emotional nourishment to every other part. You being able to express yourself from a place of balance and also enlightenment. Okay, so the 10, if you see here, there's a rainbow. This is the only rainbow in the tarot. Rainbows have a lot of esoteric symbolism. The way that I look at rainbows is light. When white light is refracted, it turns into a rainbow. And this is the chakra body, right? If you see here, chakra in Sanskrit is wheel. These look like wheels that are constantly in rotation and constantly in balance and harmony with one another. So, regardless of whether this might mean that or your happily ever after comes, it's more being at feeling that in a state of balance, in a state of flow with the way that you express yourself, and also through that expression you are able to share this energy. I mean, that's a far cry from the 2 5s, which are sort of conflict and rejection and all of that. So there's a real shift. And also from the Knight of Swords, which can be like a little too rushing, to the peace of these cards, right? The Strength card is about through love and kindness, through this soft integration. This is when we come into abundance, right? The Empress is very much about abundance. If you look here, we've got the wreath of flowers that is around the woman in the Strength card, and it's going into the lion's mane of finding joy in the 3D, finding joy and beauty in your local environment, in your day-to-day. Okay, right. I am going to pull some clarification cards. Let's see what wants to come through for Gemini. This is the numerology deck. All the decks are in the description box. Let's see what wants to come through for this Leo, new moon, and Gemini. Individuality, very independent energy. So often we can get bogged down by the energy of other people, our local environment, how other people communicate, and we can forget that you are walking your own path. Very much like calling in this sense of being able to find your truth and the way that you express that, and it is unique to you, and it belongs to nobody else. It also belongs to the whole cosmos, right? Because we come from all of it. But this confidence in being able to, as I said, that with that Queen of Swords, of being able to express yourself without distortion and coming from truth, coming from love and coming from truth, and not hiding from things that okay, got healing come up, and service. So this is instigating a level of healing going on, that is allowing you to, it's really just reconfirming what I was saying about expressing yourself. The word shame keeps coming into my head. So often we can distort what we're saying because of fear of what other people may think, because we are judging ourselves, right? The Virgo transit with Mercury is really helping us work through judgment and self-criticism. And that, as I said, you're ruled by Mercury, so that's kind of significant. That it's helping us move through that, so we're able just to be confident that we're not going to get kicked out of the tribe, basically, by being ourselves. Because that is a deep-rooted fear in a lot of people, even regardless of whether they're conscious of it or not. Because we have been a very tribal species. We can other others really quickly. Scapegoating is very much a thing, and like moving away from that fear and being able to stand your ground, right? Have your feet on the ground and be able to stand with love and kindness and the clarity of the truth as objectively as you can with your own subjective experience in the expression of this harmony, right? Rather than allowing the outside conditioning to diminish that light. Okay, let's do one more card from here. And this is the first light tarot. I can't remember if I said that or not. Major arcana, question cards, keyword cards, and statement cards. Let's see what's coming up for Gemini. Okay, we've got the Tower in reverse. And so this is the bringing down of communication structures that no longer serve you, right? That with the Tower card, right, it can be really scary, but all the chaos is at the top. So it's a pulling down of that which doesn't serve you in order to you to see your strong foundations. I kind of feel like a lot of that's been happening with the opposition with Saturn over in Aquarius. So now you've been integrating that, and that takes a while, right? I'm still integrating the Saturn in Aquarius transit. Right, I really like that one. Yeah, there's a definite a pulling down of that conflict and that scarcity energy, and you've been doing some healing on that, and this new moon is giving you a boost in the next part of your cycle. Right, I am going to leave it at that, Gemini. I hope this resonated. If it did, there's quite a few things you can do to help this channel. It is a growing channel, so all interaction on the channel really helps. Liking the video, leaving a comment, even if it's just an emoji, or telling me what sign you're checking into. Personally, I love to hear about the astro weather, so it would make me very happy. If you wanted to have a chat, I will get back to you. And yeah, there's other things. Subscribe. Hello, new viewer. There's lots of other things as well, but I'll leave it at that. Be good to yourselves, Gemini. Be good to those around you, and most importantly, be well.